it. Let's hop right into it. There's never a moment to waste. There's too much news to get through, too much interviews to do. I appreciate you guys for joining me once again. Make sure you hit that like button on the way in. My name's Brian. This is the Blunt Politics Podcast. And like I say, thank you to the mods. Thank you to the chat. Thank you for everybody that makes this show possible. Fantastic show for you today. Happy to be joined by Massachusetts State Senate candidate Daniel Lander. We're going to get into an interview. We got him waiting in the wings in just a minute. But before I do that, I want to say hi to the chat. Make sure that you guys get your, your show of appreciation for making this happen. What's up, Twiggy? What's up, Alan? What's going on, guys? Let me throw you on the screen. You guys always deserve some screen time. It's not just me that makes it happen. Not just me. It's everybody. It's a whole, it's a whole community that makes this happen. What's going on, Wes? What's up, Roxanne? What's going on, everybody? What's up, Nola? What's up, Rox? Roxy? I feel like we had a whole lot of rocks in there. What's going on, Slightly Mad Mom? Appreciate you guys. What's up, Victor? What's going on, Jeff? Make sure you guys hit that like button. Thomas, what's going on, brother? Appreciate you for joining me once again. What's up, Damon? What's up, Jay? So like I said, we got a lot to get into, a lot to cover today. We'll probably have to get into the NATO craziness later on this evening on our second episode, our second show tonight at 8:30, because boy, oh boy, was some ridiculousness and craziness going on at that meeting. But first off, I do want to just thank everybody for getting us past our goal here for our NAFO 69 Sniffing Brigade campaign with the Help 99 crew, Boston Brian Summer drones. We have now reached officially 101%. So very much appreciated for you guys getting us to this goal. I ship out in just a few days to Estonia. I'll be driving from Estonia into Ukraine to deliver this first person, hand it off in person to the 3rd Operational Battalion Artillery Platoon. So again, big shout out, big pat on the back to you guys for making this a possibility. In less than a month, getting this done is fantastic for a community of less than 25,000 subscribers here on YouTube. I think is a real, it's a real opportunity for us to show what we can do. So very much appreciate you guys for doing that. But before I waste any more time, let's bring in my buddy here. Let's bring in my buddy Dan. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day. I know running for state senate is not easy. I know there's a lot of people trying to pull you in a lot of different directions. So taking the time out today is really appreciated. So thank you for being here.
No, I really appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
No, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. It's always good to speak to another Boston kid. If I can uplift and use this platform in the community to do everything I can to get the most progressive candidates, the spotlight and their ability to come out and meet people and get their platform out there, then that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'll probably just have you start by, explaining to the chat and people that may not be aware of the Massachusetts State Senate race, who you are, a little bit about your background, how you get into politics, some of the candidates that you've been affiliated with, things like that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. So I'm Daniel. I grew up in Cambridge, right across the river from Boston. I live these days in Fenway with my husband. I live most of my life around here. I got into politics. I was inspired when Elizabeth Warren actually first ran for Senate back in 2012, challenging Scott Brown. She was talking about how we needed to take on big corporations, make sure people paid their, wealthy people paid their fair share. And I got involved in that campaign. It pushed me into politics. In my career, I worked at the Innocence Project, helping people who've been victims of official misconduct to rebuild their lives, seek justice. I've been a community organizer, helping low-income housing tenants build political power in Cambridge. I've been an organizer across the country for LGBTQ equality and justice. So I worked 2018 down in Georgia for Stacey Abrams, trying to turn Georgia blue. We got really, really close that year. There was a ton of voter suppression.
Right.
That sort of held us back. But, it's the reason there's 2 Democratic senators down there right now. It's why we hopefully are going to elect the first Black woman governor in the South this year. And then I worked on Senator Warren's presidential campaign. I led youth and LGBTQ outreach across the country for her. We obviously didn't get all the way there, but I love that campaign. And it was one of those where we didn't talk to big, wealthy donors. We talked to regular people across the country, asked them what they wanted to see in their government, what they wanted us to fight for. And it's where I met then a city councilor, Michelle Wu, who she was also inspired into politics by Elizabeth Warren. She was a law student when Elizabeth first ran. And me and the mayor, we became friends on a trip to New Orleans together, where we were going down to talk to students, and Alamo rented us an enormous truck, and we just drove around New Orleans trying to meet students and talk to them. And, when she started thinking about running for the mayor of Boston, she asked me to get involved there to help her as a senior advisor. When we won, she asked me to come into her office where I did a ton of work trying to tackle the big challenges facing Massachusetts and Boston. It is enormously expensive to live here. Cost of housing, healthcare, childcare lead the nation. So did a bunch of work on how to use the tools of government to build more housing. How do we invest in small businesses and make this a better, more vibrant city? Help more than 90 small businesses open across Boston, new bars, new restaurants, new markets, new childcares. And now I am running for state senate. And I don't know if folks know, but Massachusetts, unfortunately, despite our very liberal and blue reputation, has the least effective legislature in the entire country. And it's a legislature that is just unwilling to work with any urgency to bring down costs, to make Massachusetts more affordable, or really to stand up to Trump, right? They are not willing to protect our communities here in any urgency. So that's a little bit about me.
Well, it sounds great to me. And, you got Fenway, grew up in Cambridge, you know what I mean? I think you got the whole, you got the Boston down pat there. So, I mean, and like I said before, we were chatting before we went live about affordability. We could probably make the entire interview just solely about affordability. You mentioned, Massachusetts being incredibly expensive to live in. You mentioned a couple things: rent, health insurance premiums, energy bills, childcare, tuition, and the list goes on as far as things that, people right now are struggling to provide for, struggling to make enough money to actually make all of the ends meet. So, my question, I guess, would be like, what are some ways in which you would tackle an ever-growing problem that we've seen, not just in Massachusetts, but spread throughout this country right now, which is, maybe not to, the same degree, but people all over this country feeling the pinch as far as cost of living and trying to make ends meet. So what would a couple of the things that you would do, be to try to ease that burden on people?
Yeah. So there's some big things and little ones, right? Rent is the biggest challenge that people are facing. It's so expensive. I supported the rent control ballot, definitely rent stabilization. So folks are not seeing like hundreds of dollars increases. A couple years ago, my landlord raised our rent $500 a month. And, we were like, okay, we got to move, right? We're not going to pay that. We can't afford that. And he rented it the next day, right? Because people are just willing to pay so much. One thing that I'm really focused on that I think could help people save money and could happen tomorrow is there are so many people in this district in particular, but in Boston, who they work overnight shifts in our hospitals, at bars and restaurants, or frankly, now that you can stay out till 3 a.m., right, they just want to go out and enjoy our city, right? And their options right now are you can pay a ton to drive and park. You can take an expensive Uber ride in the middle of the night, which can be like sometimes like $100 to go somewhere.
Yeah, ridiculous. Yeah.
Or you don't do it. And, I made some videos about this, and so many people have commented being like, I couldn't take a job because I couldn't get there overnight. And I had a bar owner who said we closed early because none of my staff could get home because there wasn't public transportation. And so I want to push the MBTA here, the transit system, to run our bus network 24 hours a day. That happens in most global cities, doesn't happen here. And it actually wouldn't cost very much at all. We already have the buses, we have the bus drivers, and it would be a way for people to get around much more affordably, get to work, make some money. That's a little thing, but it could go a long way for people. I also, I talk to families all the time, young parents who are paying like $30,000, $40,000 a year to keep their kids in childcare. And because of that, they're like, we can't have another kid. Other states, I'm really inspired by New Mexico. New Mexico has done universal childcare. They're like, everybody gets a voucher. You don't have to pay for this, right? We want to make sure families can have kids. That's going to be one of my top priorities here in Massachusetts too.
Well, and you'd think would be on top of that innovation in public transportation. I mean, we do have the oldest subway system in the entire country here. So, it's not something that we haven't, even as long ago as it was, come together and thought out this huge, big thing that would make it easier for people in the city and around the city to travel and to get to where they need to go and to utilize public transportation to get to work and to know that it's going to be reliable. Like you said, millions of people in this city rely upon public transportation to get to and fro, whether it's from work or, important meetings, doctor's visits. And if their line isn't running, if the train's off the tracks, if, Joe Schmo calls and say whatever the problem is, the bus breaks down, then that has a huge impact on people. And, one too many of those false moves or, not making it into work on time, you lose your job. Next thing you know, you can't pay rent. And now, you're up shit's creek without a paddle. So, I mean, there's so many different ways. Like what's something that you're hearing from people on the ground? ground? Like, as far as this, are you hearing, because, Boston also has some very affluent areas as well. So I'm sure there's some people not struggling as much as the middle and lower class, but, the people that you are running to, the blue collar people on the ground, what are they saying to you? What are they really focused upon? What are they really, what areas are they hurting in? Is it similar to what we're speaking about here? Is it, are you hearing different things on the ground?
So I'm hearing it. I mean, it's been interesting. Even in the more wealthy parts of this district, people are struggling because it may be right that the folks who are in their 60s or 70s are doing okay, but I can't tell you how many times I come across people who are like, their children, their adult children and grandchildren are living with them because they can't afford a place of their own. And they're like, well, maybe we're, mom and dad or your granddad and grandmom are doing okay, but like we have our entire family with us because we can't afford it. I've talked to, frankly, a number of seniors. I was talking to this couple. They're in their 90s. They live in Watertown. They've lived there basically their entire life, and they're on Social Security. It doesn't go up that much. They are on that fixed income as energy costs are skyrocketing, as healthcare costs are skyrocketing. They're like, we don't know if we can stay in our home. And there's nowhere for them to downsize and stay in Watertown. And they're like, where are we going to go? This is the place we've lived our entire life. So that's the thing I'm hearing a bunch. Energy costs is definitely huge here. I was talking to someone the other day who was saying he's been looking at his bill, and every month, right, the amount of energy he actually uses, goes down on his bill, but his bill keeps going up because we have this crazy program in Massachusetts where we're like paying and probably anyone who lives in Massachusetts has seen our roads are in terrible condition. They're in terrible condition because the utilities are digging up all of our roads to put new gas pipes, because every inch of gas pipe they put in, they can make a huge return on and then charge everybody in the state. Even though it's actually cheaper and more effective, they can put like a liner down the tube that fixes anything. But because they can make more money, they're just like, well, we'll rip the roads, we'll replace all the pipes, even if they're not, out of date. And
it seems like they're making the billing more complicated so that people can't understand it. Like, I can't tell you, I used to do, before I did, got into political commentary, I was a plumber in Massachusetts here. And I can't tell you how many times I'd be working in somebody's house and they'd be like, asking me, can you figure out this lighting bill? Can you figure out this electric bill? What the hell does all this mean? And why am I getting charged this rate for this? And it's all different here. Like, how did it go from a $113 bill this year or this month to a $782 bill this month? It's like, I got nothing for you. I don't know. Like, you'd have to call them and figure it out, because it looks like you're being charged different rates for different days at certain times. So it's like they try to make it more complicated so that you get frustrated. You end up just paying it, at the end of the day and saying, whatever, we'll deal with it. You need the power. So obviously at some point you're going to pay. But, it's tough to see that, these companies are utilizing these like ridiculously nefarious processes and little tactics to try to just suck every penny out of the public that they possibly can, similar to what you were just talking about as far as putting in gas pipes, and I'm sure fiber optic and everything else is probably a problem too.
Yeah, well, and they can, so what they can do with on their bills, any lobbying fees they do, any lobbying they do on Beacon Hill to make sure that like they're not getting rid of incentives where they can make more money, they can charge to every customer. Right. So we are paying so they can lobby to charge us more. We are paying for their executive bonuses, all because, right, Beacon Hill won't do anything about it. It's just crazy. It's like, why would we pay for this? They want to make it as confusing, as hard to sort of understand. So you pay it because you want to keep the lights on. You want to keep your home. You want to keep your, when during the heat wave last week, we want to keep it cool, but right. You got no option.
Right. And I don't know, you may know, but I didn't hear the call go out to about the 78. I'm sure the Republicans would have had a fit if we went with the United States Energy Department and other states around the country that have made that similar suggestion as well. But I'm sure you saw the freak out on social media. But you also speak about on your platform, restaurants, small businesses, bars and restaurants, and we kind of saw the resurgence, let's just say, of what nightlife could be and what it used to be, in my opinion, in this city when the Scots came around for the World Cup. They really injected some life into this city, and we saw the the curfew and the 3 a.m. come into effect. So you were speaking about some of the policies and the restrictive licensing aspects and stuff like that. So can you just expound upon that and how we could improve the lives for small business owners, and in particular restaurants, businesses, and stuff like that it feed the nightlife in this city and make it so people have a way to blow off some steam?
Yeah, I love this question. And I have been talking about this all campaign because Massachusetts, Boston, should be an affordable place to live, but also should be fun, right? Should be a place where you can have a good time and where businesses can thrive. And right now we have all these, we're seeing a little experiment with the World Cup where when we you can have an open container zone, when you can be out to 3 a.m., you can see, and the Scots have just been amazing. The Tartan Army was just such a shot in the arm for the city. But you can see this is a fun place. We just need to make it easier. And so I'll give you the craziest example is that right now there's a state law that requires bars in Boston to get a separate permit just to put a TV on the wall. And we don't care about it. The city of Boston doesn't care if you put a TV on the wall, but you need to get this non-live entertainment permit to do it. We can't waive it. And we sent up a home rule petition. We asked the state to get rid of it. They didn't act anything on it. It's who cares if you can put a TV on the wall? Also, unfortunately, as a legacy of prohibition, there's been a cap on the number of liquor licenses we have, the number of bars and restaurants we can have in the city. It's basically a bunch of people back in the 30s deciding they didn't want the Irish American people to have enough power. They were worried they had too much power, so they didn't want even control of this. And that's why so many dive bars, classic restaurants, they'll close because some big international chain will come in, offer them $500,000 to buy their license, right? And someone's okay, well, that's a lot of money. That's my retirement right there. And everything goes to the seaport. It's all big chains, and small businesses can't thrive. And there's no reason a liquor license should cost $500,000. It's a piece of paper. So I definitely want to make sure we are getting rid of that cap. So if you have a good idea to open a bar, you can just do it for free. I want to lift the ban on happy hour, which we're one of the few states that still has that, particularly now with Uber and
Lyft. Trying to keep them Irish down. You know what I mean?
No, exactly.
That.
Well, and it's right. So many bars, right, do dollar oysters here because they want to get people in. They oysters are a really high margin item for restaurants, but they want to do dollar oysters because we want to get people in seats in some off hours. Why can't we give restaurants more tools to get people in? Happy hour is a great way to do that. So I'm going to fight for happy hour. I'm really hopeful we'll get the 3 a.m. pilot will end at the end of July, but I'm hoping that we can bring it back. It's just this should be a great city. We should give bars and restaurants more tools to thrive. So top priority for me, definitely.
Now, you were also, and I'm surprised I apologize, I should say, that it's taken me this long into the interview to tell this and to tell people this, but you were the senior aide to Michelle Wu, right? And I'm sure I forgot if you mentioned that specifically in the intro. What was it like working in and around Michelle Wu? And obviously you guys got some great things accomplished, and you got some pretty heavy hitters here as far as endorsements on the site. I mean, Elizabeth Warren, Michelle Wu, Mark McGovern, the list goes on as far as different city councilors, people on different committees, so it's a pretty extensive list of people that want to see you do well, want to see you succeed. What was it like, working or speaking with Elizabeth Warren? Do you is there any insight, anything that you can say as far as, things that align, things that maybe don't align, things that you do differently, anything like that?
Yeah. So, I'm really, really proud to have her endorsement in this race. And it's actually the first time ever Elizabeth Warren has endorsed against state house leadership in Massachusetts. Because it's the first time ever, right? Because, she sees across the country states that are trying cool progressive policies to bring down prescription drug prices, to expand affordable housing, to, stand up to bad corporate actors. And here in Massachusetts, all those policies are going to die without a vote in our legislature. And so I'm really excited she's in my corner. To me, even under Trump, right, she is going to get this bipartisan housing bill through to try and tackle housing affordability. Even in this crazy Republican Congress, she can figure out a way forward and still fight to make sure that we're standing up to big companies. And so
Mhm.
I don't know. She's just like a mentor and a hero for me. I'm super grateful to have worked for Mayor Wu for the last 5 years. We have been trying to take on a bunch of big challenges in Boston, move the city forward, and she's just whip smart, really thoughtful, and just wants to get into the details, right? Like, how do you figure out what are the tools of government, and not just, there are so many people, and my opponent is like the perfect example of this, who'll tell you like, well, something's complicated or it's too hard to do. We just can't do it. And what I love about Senator Warren, what I love about Mayor Wu is
Figure it out.
like, let's figure it out. Like, let's try and
Mhm.
help people, right? And let's try and imagine the world we want to live in, not the one we're stuck in right now. And
Especially at a time where progressive policies seem to be on the up and up. I mean, we've
yeah,
seen, victories in New York City. We've seen Colorado. Obviously what the people of Maine wanted to see at least come into fruition as far as policies for the
yep,
people. I mean, that's what I keep bringing up as far as that whole shit show is concerned is, the bright side is that the people of Maine really want those types of policies,
yeah,
for the people, better access to healthcare, better quality of living, easier, make it easier to own a home at a younger age or whatever age, at this point in time, not letting the 1%ers, the billionaires step on the necks of the working class like they've been able to do for so long so that they can buy their 12th or 13th yacht, their 25th home somewhere. Like there's so many
they're
different
like
things
bunker
that,
in New Zealand or
yeah,
whatever.
go for it. Hit. Yeah. I mean, it's a time where I feel like it's a lot of people want to see that. I think we've seen consistently in this country, the wealthy and the 1%ers do overly well and make, money where even there's no money to be made, and everybody else seems to be suffering more and more as we've seen inflation rise, cost of living, the pay wage gap is not, it's ridiculous at this point in time, so it's like, I don't know. I don't know how we could possibly do more to try to uplift these progressive, policies that are definitely more beneficial than anything that's being espoused by, whatever establishment candidates or, Republicans in general. So it's cool to see that people like yourselves, and others in the community as well, trying to do more, trying to step up, espousing these same things. Like, have you seen that, these policies are becoming more popular with the people that you're speaking about? Sometimes maybe that, you wouldn't expect to kind of be on board with them.
Totally. And it's been interesting, as I'm on the doors, people who are seeing what's happening in New York City, they're seeing what's happening around the country, and they're like, we want it in Massachusetts. And not just, I think there are a lot of people my age and like younger who are like, man, we've been screwed. But I talk to seniors who are like, they're like, we believe our government can do more. We know our government can try and invest in the public good, invest in good public transportation, great public schools. We can take care of our neighbors, and they love seeing people who actually want to fight for that and don't want to make excuses for why, like, we just gotta like make compromise after compromise after compromise so that big corporations and billionaires win out all the time. And so I'm so encouraged by what's happened around the country. I think people are just so tired of not only the corruption of the Trump administration, what's happening in Washington, but just of establishment people on both sides who just like again and again have no imagination. I talk a lot about, in particular, like my opponent has this real poverty of imagination, but like all of this, what's he doing now? Oh, this is the Japan
No,
thing.
Continue. I'll let you finish, but you brought up the ridiculousness of the Trump administration.
No, it's crazy.
I know a lot of people speaking about this, a few different moments, obviously, in this meeting here. First, he's calling it the JCPOC as far as the JCPOA in Obama's.
Wait, can I watch this clip? This is crazy.
Yeah. He called Zelensky President Putin, immediately recognized that he had called him Putin, tried to like bail himself out of that by saying, oh no, I wanted you to ask a question to Zelensky for Putin. So none of it made sense. And then obviously I'm sure people have heard that he called it the Islamic Republic of Japan. So I'm going to throw this on the screen real quick. Let people check this out.
I told this story yesterday. We had 111 missiles shot by the Islamic Republic of Japan.
The Islamic Republic of Japan is diabolical.
Wow.
Like, I don't even I know he meant to say Iran, but how you put a J in there and how you mix up, one of our long-standing allies with, the Islamic Republic of Iran in that situation is it's crazy and also not crazy. It's crazy because obviously that's not what we want in a leader. That's not kind of the mental capacity that we'd like to see in the leader of this country and the commander in chief of our armed forces. But it's also not surprising by any stretch of the imagination from what we've seen in this guy, what this guy's capable of, right? I mean, you're not surprised that he said the Islamic Republic of Japan, are you?
No, not at all. You're just like, I mean, it's just like another one where you're like, oh man, they should just not let him go to these meetings. Like, oh boy.
And he doesn't even have the sundowning excuse in this. I mean, he might have the, a little bit of jet lag, whatever, from the travel, but it's not like these are in morning meetings. So it's not like he's got, this is an 11 p.m. meeting and he's just, really incoherent and tired from a day's work and shit. And then he goes on here again to call Volodymyr Zelensky, who he's sitting directly next to, having a conversation. Vladimir Putin catches it himself and then tries to bail himself out. And then we'll take a look at the JCPOC clip again.
A shot at the aircraft. JCPOC. What a terrible deal. I call it the Obama nuclear waste deal, because what he did with that deal is he caused tremendous hardship in the Middle East. It was a terrible. You have a question for President Putin, please?
So he points to his right. You have a question for President Putin, and he points directly to his right, who is not President Putin, but President of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky. And then he must see the reactions on the faces of the people in the media that are there, and he kind of recognizes, like, oh shit. But he catches it here, and he tries to like flip it around, like, oh no, I know who it is. I know who's sitting next to me. It's just I want you to ask a question of Vladimir Putin. It's like, why are you answering questions on behalf of Putin now? Like, what are we doing here?
Do you have a question for President Putin? Not Zelensky. Yeah, what would you like to ask him? Because
even though he can't bail himself out to any 100% degree, because he pointed directly at Zelensky when he said it. But I mean, people are looking at this not only in Massachusetts, not only in this country, but throughout the world, and looking at what a joke we are right now, looking at what a disaster this administration is. And it's difficult. I give Zelensky a lot of credit for having to, do this dance with Donald Trump, to on one hand try to and have to appease him, and recognize that he still needs relationship with the United States. And it's just at this moment that Trump is the representative of the United States. So it's like, if he were to, not take another breath and not be here, Volodymyr Zelensky would still need to have relationship with the United States. So you see them do this dance, but what's your take from, this debacle here?
I mean, just like, it's crazy. Like, just I can't believe it'd almost be better if they didn't let him do press conferences. Like, I mean, luckily,
but we need the people to see it. It's good that we get to point this out,
I mean, the one thing it kind of makes me think about is, like, I'm very happy the World Cup has been happening in a way, because I think a lot of people have been seeing, they come to America and they're like, okay, well, not everybody is as crazy as Donald Trump, right? Like, there are some people here who actually want the world and want to have relationships and want to make sure that, when this is over, we're going to rebuild them, because, man.
And they see what this country could be and
what this country could be, right?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people coming over and talking about the food and talking about the people and how great
bringing back
the sites,
right?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, that's what it could be. But, unfortunately, the news that they hear is also true. It's not propaganda when they hear how insane our administration is, or how he's treating our allies on the world stage, the wars that he's gotten us involved in, or the wars that he's been unable to end that he promised, or, the promise of, lowering the cost of living. Meanwhile, it's gone up exponentially. So that's not propaganda, but we also have great people in this country. We have great areas of this country, beautiful, beautiful places in this country, and so much to offer. It's a shame that, it's people getting rounded up at airports, people getting rounded up at churches and schools, and, people trying to come here for a better life, trying to access all of those great, all of that greatness that we just talked about, that are being demeaned and denigrated and shunned basically from this country.
Yeah, no, it's awful. It's just, one, I think about it some here. I'd say, like, we have people who have been kidnapped all over this district, unfortunately, who have done nothing wrong, committed no real crime. We are also, like, Massachusetts, right, is the birthplace of so much like healthcare innovation, disease cures for cancer, for COVID vaccine, all sorts of things. And Donald Trump has just been destroying our scientific research base. People are literally, like, leaving the country over it. And it's like,
is just going to make us poorer. It is not going to help make us like, one, not going to deliver better disease cures, keep people healthy. And it's all for nothing because they just don't believe. They just want to like tear this country apart and tear down the things that frankly make us wealthy. It's crazy.
Now, you've also on your platform, you've talked about ICE and DHS and what they have been perpetrating throughout this country. What can we do to mitigate against that? I know obviously midterms is a huge component of how much we can stand in the way. Like what else? What are you thinking as far as if you get in there, what you're able to do, what you're going to call for, what you'll be demanding, that type of stuff. You know? What I mean?
No. So this may shock people, but unfortunately, Massachusetts is the only Democratic, like blue state, where we control governor, House, Senate, that hasn't passed new laws to protect immigrants from ICE. And so that means right now, ICE can go into hospitals, into schools, into courthouses, right, to grab people. So a top priority for me is going to make sure we are putting in place new laws there. I think we should be making sure they can't use any public property to do staging. Massachusetts also still has one of these 287G agreements where we're cooperating with ICE. And I think we should ban that. We should get rid of it. Like this agency cannot be trusted whatsoever. We're seeing people like die in custody all the time who haven't committed a crime. So that's a huge priority for me. It's pretty shameful, honestly, that Massachusetts hasn't done this. Even like Virginia, right? Virginia, they got a Democratic governor in January. The first thing the governor did was get rid of their agreement with ICE. Yeah, here in Massachusetts, it's been 15 months and it's 16 months and we still haven't done anything. There's just no urgency there. And also just generally
crazy, the inconsistencies, because there are some ways in which at least, on the face of it, at least in rhetoric and, news headlines kind of clips where the city does do things for immigrant populations, immigrant communities in this state and in this city where they recognize them, and we're known for playing different national anthems and recognizing different communities and raising flags of different communities and stuff. So it's like the inconsistencies of that and not recognizing the plight that those communities are under right now because of ICE, because of DHS, and because of the rhetoric from this administration directly. It's crazy to see. It really is crazy to see that disconnect there.
Yeah,
in this state, at least.
Totally. Well, and I mean, like the big idea that they have at the state government right now is like, well, we'll give you a new civil right so that after you get kidnapped or after you get shot by ICE, your family can sue them. And like, that's not what people want. What people want is to not get kidnapped or not get shot by our government. Like that is, it honestly boggles my mind because all people are asking for is just to feel safe in their communities and for their government not to be targeting people crazily and illegally. And here in Massachusetts, you would expect us to be a leader in this space. We used to be a leader on civil rights, and unfortunately, we've fallen way back. So luckily, I think other states are like taking the torch and trying to find good ideas. We should be looking for all of those here in Massachusetts, right? We should try and figure out how we are banning masks. We should figure out ways in which we can like sort of track their usage, where ICE agents are, all kind of things we should be doing.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy that we have to, still talk about, the blue state and, what we actually control in the state, and still the things that we need to progress, because we used to be, in a few areas at least, the trendsetter. What Massachusetts did, a lot of, other states would try to adopt and say, hey, it worked there, so let's at least try it here, type of thing. So to see us kind of fall behind in some of these areas is pretty scary, which is why I think we need some new blood like yourself, some younger, some more vibrant, energetic people that are, in tune with what the majority, or at least the most people are feeling, because, it tends to be the older you get, the more money you accrue, and the longer that you're in government and politics, you tend to get detached from the realities, because, you're going to state funded dinners, you're going to, probably get a vehicle given to yourself. Obviously, if you're making the salary, you got a night. It's just like a lot of people aren't living that sort of lifestyle. So you kind of get a little bit removed. So to have, some, how old are you actually? I don't even think I asked.
So I'm 35. I just turned 35 last week. So
Jesus, I need your fucking skincare routine, dude. What's going on there? Huh?
I know. Some good genetics.
What's going on at the water in Cambridge? This is not right.
I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful.
No, we appreciate it.
I've knocked on a couple doors and people. I talked on this 95-year-old store, and she was like, "Are you old enough to do this? And I was like, I promise, I'll show you my license. Like,
yeah, it's a compliment. It really is. It's a
no,
great. It's a
I'm
great
happy
compliment.
to hear it. I'm happy to hear it from people.
But you understand more, I think, of what people are experiencing in their daily life right now, not just by, you know, what you're dealing with in your daily life, but speaking to people, the people that you've, you know, been associated with and involved in different campaigns and working in politics and volunteers and stuff like that. So like, I think that's what we need right now is people more in tune to the streets, people more in tune to the blue collar workers and what could help them. What is your need? What can we give you that, what area are you hurting the most? So how can we help that? If it's housing, how can we make housing more affordable? And I get in there, let's look at the legislation, let's look at the policies, let's look at everything we could possibly go through to see how we could make this a more affordable option for people, where it's not, you know, this like you're giving up basically everything to even if you can get to that position. You know, a lot of people don't even have that option to give up everything, you know.
Totally. Well, can I tell you something kind of crazy? Which
Absolutely.
is so in my district right now, and for folks, like, this is Fenway, Alston, Brighton, parts of Cambridge, Watertown, Belmont here in Boston. There have been a ton of strikes. Right, actually, this morning before I was on this call, I was at Brigham and Women's Hospital here, where the largest nurses strike in Massachusetts history is happening right now, because despite the fact that Mass General Brigham is one of the like most successful companies in Massachusetts, the CEO made $8.4 million last year. They're giving their nurses 0% raises. So my opponent, though, he has said he will never join a picket line. He will never stand with workers. He will never go meet with them and understand their concerns. And I just think this is totally crazy. It's like, if you are unwilling to go and talk to people who are trying to fight for fair wages, better working conditions, like, why are you even in this business? How are you going to, how can anyone trust that you're going to fight to stand up to big businesses, to make sure that working people can survive? It's totally crazy to me.
And I think it's quite, it's quite literally the opposite of what people are demanding of our politicians right now. At least, I know that, you know, we don't have the majority of power inside of government, so we're very limited as what we could do against Donald Trump. That's why midterms are so very important. But that doesn't mean that you can't be linked arm in arm with your constituents at these different no kangs, hands off protests, whatever it may be. Starting your own, you know, your voice box is not based upon how many seats in the Senate and how many seats in the House that we have, or who's in the presidency. Like, you can get out there with the camera, with the microphone, speak for the people, ask the people questions, and putting your ear to the ground and getting in these picket lines is that's how you understand what the people want. Like, that's how you understand what problems that they're facing and how angry they are. How else do you judge the people's sentiment and where they are on these issues? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, totally. You got to get out there. You got to listen to people. You got to be willing to do it. I mean,
looking at polling's one thing, right? When your team hands you a sheet of paper in the morning and says, "Here's the numbers for today," like, you can gather a pretty good amount from that based upon, you know, how big the survey is and how many people were in the poll, obviously. But that's not how angry, you know, Suzanne was, or how angry Kevin was when they voted, when they clicked that button. How pissed off are they, and how far are they willing to go to say, all right, if you're not going to espouse these policies that are going to be helpful to me, then you're not getting my vote, type thing.
No, totally. You got to be out. You got to be out in your community. Like, I was out talking to people in part of the district, and I you know, because I was doing that, I talked to this woman who she lives in this place called the Hill Estates. It's like 300 apartments, just got bought by a big private equity firm, and they're jacking up the rent on different tenants depending on what the last name is, right? If someone looks like they're a person of color, they're getting a higher rent. And right,
that just doesn't sound legal by any stretch.
It's definitely not. But they asked my opponent, the current senator, for help, and he was like, "Nothing we can do." And
really,
yeah.
And I mean, that's similar to the story of you know, it reminds me of Trump when he used to put you know, the moniker, the initial next to people's names in his units, so he could tell who was a person of color or not. Like, that's a similar thing than that. And then to charge them extra on top of that is just insane. And then to say that you can't help. I mean, even if you could, and you think you'd raise awareness so that you'd build an opportunity or a bridge to be able to help.
Maybe it's like, look, all I can do to help right now is try and connect them with some tenant lawyers, connect them with the Attorney General's office, try and make some connections, right? But like, that's not nothing. And, you know, you at least got to show up and try. It's just totally crazy.
I
And
think
like,
that's all. Like I said, I think that's the bare minimum that
it's the
people
bare
are
minimum, right?
expecting right now.
They just want you to like. People are tired of. This is what I'm hearing every single day. Is people are tired of politicians making excuses for why we just can't do anything, right? Why we can't stand up to Trump? Why there's nothing we can do? We just got to sit back and take it, and they want us to fight back and look for solutions and try and make their lives better. And it doesn't mean it's all going to be easy, but they want to see that we're trying. And
Yeah,
I
and I
feel
think
that
they
like,
expect it not to be easy. I think a lot
yeah,
of people understand that this isn't easy. I mean, a lot of people, may not be heavily involved in politics. Some people are obviously heavily involved in politics, but I think a lot of people understand that it's not just a snap of your fingers to get something done, to get funding for this, that, or the other thing, or to reverse a law or a policy that was put in place generations or years ago that have been detrimental to society. Like it takes, determination. It takes somebody that's willing to get into the, the fucking cracks and figure out how we got to this point, what positions we could utilize to get out of these positions, and what we could do for the betterment of the working class people in this country. I think that's a huge thing that a lot of people want to see and have seen, is just how much this country has gone away from being beneficial to families and people that just want to have that average normal life. You're not a billionaire, you're not a trillionaire, you're not a gazillionaire. It's just you're just a person that goes to work from 9 to 5 every single day, takes your kids to school, or takes them to soccer practice, comes in and cooks dinner and rinse and repeat. You just want to be able to put at least that type of a lifestyle together. And I'm sure it differs depending on who you are and what lifestyle you want to lead, but I think everybody understands the sentiment of where people would like to be, just more affordable, easier cost of living. It's not that different. I don't know. It's not that crazy. And to get it where we don't have, and we're struggling to have people represent those policies is mind blowing to me.
No, it's totally crazy. Like my opponent, we did a debate and he's like, there's nothing we can do to bring down your rent. There's like, you should just be happy that you can get on Mass Health. You can be on Medicaid. And it's like, seriously, that's it? Right? Like, you're not going to try and build more housing, try and build more affordable housing, try and put in place rent stabilization. And, I think what people want is just government to help them. And
see, Wes, I think that you've done way more good than you are being a drain on society by any stretch of the imagination. I think in your 40 years in public education, you have uplifted enough kids, whatever grades that you are responsible for teaching, that have gone on to do great things in this world and great things for society, that you're absolutely, and even if you didn't, you still wouldn't be a drain on society having put in 40 years in public education. So we appreciate your 40 years in public education. We respect that. And don't for a second think that you're a drain on society because you're collecting public pension.
Absolutely not. I really thank you, Wes, for the work you did as a teacher. I'm proud. In this race, I was endorsed by the Mass Teachers Association. And, this is actually a really, unfortunately, my opponent is probably one of those people who might say you're a drain. He got an award from, it's kind of a throwback, from Rick Perry, from the former governor of Texas, because he came up all on his own on a plan to gut public worker pensions, because he thought it was unfair that public workers got a pension, not everybody gets a pension. And the answer is, right, Wes probably got paid a lot less working as a public school teacher or educator than he would have if he'd gone some private sector job. And the trade that we offer is that you're taken care of, right? That you retire with dignity. And to have all these nominally democratic people try and gut worker pensions that people have earned over decades is totally crazy, right? Like, we should be figuring out how we are expanding our social safety net, how we're expanding to make sure everybody can retire with dignity, not just looking to cut it.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking to see people that have spent years and given blood, sweat, and tears to, whatever career and industry that they were in for so many years, and, thought that they had done things the right way, put together what they thought was going to be a nest egg that would carry them through their later years and through their retirement, only to see the cost of living go up at such a rate that nest egg has, not even slowly dwindled, but rapidly dwindled, where now a lot of older people are back out in the workforce doing whatever they possibly can just to make ends meet. And it's it's disheartening, it's disappointing, it's depressing to see that that's where we are in a country that's the most wealthy country that this fucking planet has ever seen. That's where a lot of people are struggling. And we could talk about obviously the access to healthcare and what Doge did, and that's been a problem even before Doge. But veterans and them trying to get the care that they deserve and the ability to have access to housing that they deserve. So a lot of different aspects that need to be covered and talked about. And it's good to see that you speak about a lot of these on your platform. So people can definitely head over to Daniel Lander. What is it? DanielLander.com. That's the correct one, right?
It keeps it easy.
Yeah.
DanielLander.com.
It almost sounded too easy for me. I figured I was missing something. I figured there was supposed to be a fourth sentence in there, but all right. I just wanted to make sure. Do you have any campaigns coming up, campaign rallies, or events coming up? Obviously, there's a place on the website that I'll put on the screen right now for people to get involved as well. Let me throw this back up there. I think that's the volunteer section here.
Yeah.
As far as the tab
I don't know if I
go
put,
for it.
if I put something in the chat to you, will that help? There's we got a bunch of events coming up.
Yeah. Oh, yep. I can copy that. I can throw that in the chat for people as well, and I'll pull that up on the screen too.
Yeah. So if folks are, and we're having some virtual stuff too. If you're not in the Boston area and want to get involved, make phone calls or come to sort of a virtual house party or things like that, we'd love to have you join us.
Well, we really do appreciate you taking the time out. We still have a few more minutes, but I just want to make sure that I don't forget to let people know where they can support your campaign, where they can get involved, where they can uplift and support, again, candidates, not only like yourself, but others around this country. That it's extremely important right now that we get these, enlighten people on these policies and how beneficial they are for people, especially when you look at what the other side of the aisle is trying to do. Like, they're trying to literally strip you of rights. They want you to be broke. They want you to be tired. They don't want you to be able to protest. They want you to just be that robotic, person that just mundanely goes to work, gets, kicked in the balls every single day, and doesn't protest, doesn't say anything about it. And like I said, the things that the progressive movement has shown recently is what a lot of people are attaching themselves onto. So again, we definitely appreciate you for taking the time out and all of what it takes to run for state senate here in Massachusetts, because it's not easy. Another thing that we were talking about before, it's like a through line from a lot of the candidates that I've had the chance to interview on this is like how much is involved, and how many hands you got to shake and how many phone calls you got to make. It's definitely not for the faint of heart, we'll say.
Yeah, no, but I'm so grateful. What I love every single day doing this is I get to talk to people, yes, about what they're worried about, but what they are hopeful for, what they wish was different about their communities, what would make their lives better and make our country better in Massachusetts. And just to get to be in that, right? When every day Trump is calling the Islamic Republic of Japan or saying some fresh crazy thing, right, and doing some other terrible thing, get to be in the space with people where it's no, but it doesn't have to stay this way. Our state, our community, our country can be better, right? This is not the best possible world, and let's imagine together what it could be. It's such a gift for me, so it keeps me going every day. And I'm an optimist. We can do better. We can rebuild and make a better version of this country, Massachusetts. We got to start organizing. We got to start electing people who want to do it. And then people got to stay involved alongside us to make sure it really happens.
Now, do you have any candidates around the country that you've noticed and kind of like yourself, or would care to tell other people to at least listen to what they have to say? I'm not saying you have to give it outright endorsement or anything, but any progressive candidates that have kind of caught your eye and what they're looking for as well? No, it's kind of an off-color question.
Oh yeah, that's a good question.
I'm always curious, not only that, but who you see in the Democratic Party as the leadership as well, or going forward, because that's something that a lot of people are tossing around. You don't have to get into that second one, but
Well, no, I don't know who's the leadership of it. I'm inspired every day by Zohran Mamdani. I just think he is so good at communicating how government can solve problems, right? Doing it hopefully. Right. I mean, he's just a masterclass at it. We should all be learning for sort of how to do that. I got a friend down in Georgia, Bentley Hudgens, who just is going to be elected as a state rep down there. They're amazing. They have been a sort of like a Asian American queer organizer in Georgia, trying to change that state and help flip the state house down there. I'm trying to think if there's a bunch of people across the country. I'm not. Ask me
Just
in a couple months when
maybe
my
like
race is
inspiration as well. You know what I mean? Like people
Yeah.
that have inspired you. I'm sure, like you said, Elizabeth Warren.
So yeah,
Michelle
Elizabeth Warren
Wu's,
for
right?
sure is like remains a huge inspiration. I'm really Deb Haaland is going to be hopefully the next governor of New Mexico, and that woman is just so smart, so thoughtful, and just like a real person. She just like, when I worked for Senator Warren on the presidential campaign, then Congresswoman Haaland came out to, do some kickoffs and things. And a lot of politicians, right, like would be doing their own thing. But while she was there, she was like, just give me a phone bank list. I just want to call people. I just want to call regular voters. And we gave her a list, and she was like, no, I need a longer one. And just like she's like, no, this work is about convincing people our world can be better. This work is about talking to people. And I want to be like shoulder to the wheel. So I'm really excited for her to win that race in New Mexico. And I don't know.
What are your predictions for midterms? Where do you see? I mean, it's tough to not see it. The American people stepping up and recognizing where we are. But yeah, I also thought that in the last election, to tell you the truth, I thought, we had kind of more ammunition than any political parties ever had against their opposition. And to not pull that one out was really sorry to bring up the phrase again, but a kick in the nuts. You know what I mean? So where do you see us realistically landing in the midterms? How do you see that going? And I know we're still somewhat early on, but if if it were to happen today type of thing.
I am confident we will retake the House. I'm feeling really good about it. The other person I'd shout out is, we don't always agree on politics, but a friend of mine, Kate Conley, is challenging Mike Lawler in New York. And she's just like, she spent a long time in military service. She is just like, she's worked trying to protect her country. She's a great woman. I think we will take back the House for sure. And I'm feeling optimistic on the Senate. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen in Maine and who the nominee will be, but Susan Collins, like that time has come. I think people are tired of her shtick. So I'm cautiously optimistic. I just think people are ready for change. You're seeing it. You saw it in Colorado. You saw it in New York. You're seeing it around the country. I'm hopeful for Texas. I'm hopeful that, maybe this is the year. I don't know if you saw that Ken Paxton was like in London on July 4th.
Yeah.
Getting out of the country with his
I feel like they want to be anywhere else other than the United States. Like, you remember the bunch of them were in Moscow at the Kremlin for July 4th. And, those are the story during Trump's first administration. It's like, do you guys plan to be anywhere else that you possibly can other than the United States here on July 4th? And then try to call yourselves patriots? It's crazy.
Yeah.
But it hopefully, like yourself, I'm hopeful that not only the recent elections that we've seen, but the whole slew of special elections and different ballot votes that we've seen over the last few months, several months, I should say, whether it be in California, we saw, I think, Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia had different votes that really showed that where the people's sentiment was and how pissed off they were at not only the lies that they were told about, from Trump about, hey, elect me and I'll end this war, elect me and no new wars, elect me and the cost of energy will be 50% of what it was just yesterday. And it's like, you've seen quite literally the opposite of all of those things happen. Energy up, new wars happening, the wars that were happening not ended. So it's like he's failed in every measure, by every measure. And if the people don't recognize that, and we've seen the Marjorie Taylor Greens and the Tucker Carlsons and kind of like these people that knew better, I believe anyway, kind of now all of a sudden see the light and want to come out and call them out. And I know we're a big tent, but the tent ain't that big, in my opinion. At least they can stay their fucking asses over there. But we also have seen some of the others, some of the lower people on the totem pole start to at least question or recognize that, this is a disaster. Clearly prices aren't lower. Clearly the wars aren't ending. And, it's just, they're also not putting the political opponents that they promised to put in jail. The Faucis and I'm sure you've probably heard all of them. They've announced investigations, but it's never really come to that being able to do the perp walk type of thing. So I'm hopeful like you that people recognize the moment that we're in. But I'm I'm cautiously optimistic as well, because I just I don't know. It always scares me as to who shows up in kind of where we go from there as far as elections. But I hope that we can take back the Senate and the House and put some real roadblocks in front of this administration and make it so that they are that lame duck for the rest of if it's not his term, as long as his heart is still ticking.
Yep. Yeah. No, look, there's gonna be a lot of like door knocking, phone ball. Like we got to make it happen. I'm just feeling.
There's another one. Yeah, I will release the Epstein files. He said.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, there is a lot of work to be done when we take it back. I'm just feeling hopeful on it.
No, I appreciate you for joining us once again. Thank you for taking the time out.
No, thank you.
I'll continue to throw the link for your website into the chat. If anybody's in the area, if anybody in general just wants to volunteer and help or donate, then they can get the opportunity to do so. But if there's anything that you need to promote, if there's any upcoming events that you need to do, if there's any way in which you feel like this platform could be utilized and be a benefit to you, feel free to throw out an email. Be more than happy to have you back on at different stages and progressions of your Senate race here. So appreciate it, brother.
Yeah. No, I really, really appreciate this. Grateful to get to have this conversation. And if folks listening know people in Watertown, Mass, Belmont, Mass, Cambridge, or Austin, Brighton, or Fenway, please let them know. If you live there, get involved. If you want to make a donation. And I just really appreciate this.
That's
Thank
crazy.
You for
I used
caring
to
about
Christmas in Belmont all the time. That's crazy.
Yeah, there we go. That's in the district. So
let's go.
We're working on it. We're working it.
We're trying to see. We are local. And one of these days, I'm going to get somebody else that has a thick Boston accent. I mean, I've never had anybody that lived in the Fenway area. I've never had anybody that lived in Cambridge specifically. So you're much more Boston than anybody else. But one of these days, we'll get a Boston accent on. But
yeah.
Thank you so much, Dan. I appreciate everything that you stand for. Again, everything that you're doing and trying to transform and change for the betterment of the working class people. And hopefully, we wish you all the success in your race and in your endeavors going on in the future. So.
Thanks so much.
Well, hope you have a wonderful day.
You too. Take care, everyone. I really appreciate it.
Later, brother. Thank you. Well, I appreciate so many of these fine candidates that we have. The younger progressive voice is so important. It really is so important right now, especially with the old establishment grade in class that has, not benefited, to say the least. You know what I mean? There's so much that we need to improve upon. And I think that, it's people like Dan and others that we've had on the show, just like him, that are the future as far as politics is concerned. The progressive movement and the progressive way and the progressive policies has really shut up as far as popularity and people willing to go to the ballot box and say, hey, that person is going to work for me. That person wants to see the better things for me. So that's who I'm going to vote for as well. So much appreciated again for Daniel Lander for taking the time out to join us on the show. Appreciate everybody here. Let's see. Do I have time? No, it's 1:58? So yeah, we got a couple minutes before we toss it over to our main man, Jeff Waldorf, over there on This Space. Should take this opportunity to give a salute and a big shout out to everybody on This Space. Thank you to the mods over there. Thank you so much to Matt for including me into this coalition. It's very important that we continue channels just like this, where people can have different creators, different points of view, but all pretty much pointing us in the same direction or a similar direction to listen to. So thank you to Matt for putting this together. Thank you to the mods. And then obviously over here, stick around on Blunt Politics. I think we have a couple people, if I'm not mistaken. I might be able to do it now, and I'll get you guys out here. So, Bri Guy, thank you so much. Very much appreciated for the $2 contribution, $2 super chat. He said, Bri had to listen to Phil and Hal. Will Barnacle now? All good. All good. Don't blame anybody for wanting to check out what Hal and Phil were talking about. Let's see if there was anybody on the – oh, it's not Jeff today. Oh, it's Alex. Okay, that's my apologies. He did tell me. I should have got that correct from the onset, but it's not Jeff. It's gonna be Alex today. So Devil's Advocate Productions, always in the chat. We've had him on the show, so go check him out right now over on This Space. Thank you so much, Tiff, for keeping me up to speed and up to date on that one. So thank you. He did tell me as well. So that's my fault. But thank you so much to Bri Guy for your contribution. Let's see if there was anybody on Venmo before I get you guys out of here. Let me see. Let's see here. Thank you to. No, I think that was it today. I think it was just Bri Guy, and thank you so much to Brian, even on the Venmo as well. So I'll salute to you guys. I'll let you go. I'll let Alex take over on This Space, and I very much appreciate you guys over here in the Blunt Politics community. Make sure you guys watch this after. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll let you guys go. Much appreciated. Thank you. Jeff. Appreciate you, Jeff. Thank you so much to Jeff as well. A Just Cause donation. Thank you, brother. Thank you so much. Very much appreciate that. Hope you're having a great day. And then who is the other one? Like I said, Bry Guy, I think, right? Bry Guy. Where are you, Bry Guy? Oh, there you are. There you are. What? No, that's Jeff. There's Bry Guy right there. Bry had to listen to Phil and Hal Barnacle now. Much appreciated, dude. Thank you so much for everything that you do for this channel. Oh, thank you, Abby. Thank you so much, Abby, for the Swedish krona, 100 Swedish krona. Much appreciated. Thank you so much for making it, a hat trick today. We get a hat trick of 3 donations. So much appreciated to you guys. Thank you so much for keeping us afloat here. Thank you so much to Wes. Hey, what was going on? I missed a little bit of what was going on with Yakov. Is Yakov all right? Saw a lot of people kind of wishing him well. Did I miss something? Let's see here. I'm going to scroll back just a little bit to make sure everything's all right. Let me know in the chat. Tiff, let me know if I missed anything, because I hope obviously he's all right and everything's okay down there. Same thing with Adam. Hope everything's going all right with Adam as well. Thank you to the mods. Thank you to Tiff. Thank you to Rox. Thank you so much to Adam. And like I said, everybody else that's responsible for making this show go. Thank you to Sabrina. Thank you to Bry Guy. Much appreciated. Thank you to Jeff for doing everything that you guys do for this channel. It is much appreciated. Tiff says, MRI and doctor getting his med situation. Back is fucked up. Oh, that sucks. Back problems. Never fun. Never fun. So wishing you well, brother. Wishing you well. If there's anything that we can do, anything to make you more comfortable, let us know and we'll be right there for you. So thank you guys. I'll see you tonight. We're going to cover all of the NATO, Turkey craziness. We're going to cover everything that Donald Trump went over and said today. So be sure you stick around and come back with us tonight at 8:30 p.m. here on the East Coast. That's 5:30 on the West Coast. So we can cover all of the craziness and the ridiculousness that we missed here in Ankara, Turkey. So much appreciated. I'm going to let you guys go. Hit that like button on the way out. Subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get to 25,000 subscribers before midterms, and it's only with your help that we're going to get there. There's a Venmo up in the corner that you can always utilize. It's the quickest and easiest way to get the buck or two that we asked for to get to the to get to the channel. It's the easiest and quickest, like I said. And then you can sign up for YouTube memberships just underneath me. You can head over to the Patreon at patreon.com/BostonBrian. We also have that summer sale going on. Don't forget the summer sale at the merch shop. You get $5 off of the shirts over there. You can also get another discount at the Patreon if you go over there and sign up for any one of those. And then, what else do we have? You can go to bostonbrian.com, check out the merch shop as well. Much appreciated. And I will see you guys later this evening. We're going to have some fun making fun of Donald Trump. So make sure you come back tonight. There's a lot to laugh at. I assure you, there's going to be a lot to laugh at. So get your drinks ready. Get your alcoholic beverages ready. Smoke them if you got them, because you're going to need them this evening from all of the insanity that Donald Trump has been responsible for just today. I mean, the MOU's over. More ships are being struck in the Strait of Hormuz. Iran is striking into, different U.S. bases. The U.S. is striking into Iran again. The whole thing has gone to pot. The whole thing is a shit show. And we're going to try to cover it all this evening. So much appreciated. Thank you. Head over now and check out Alex over there on this space. Big shout out to you and in the chat. Thank you so much to the mods. And thank you so much to everybody over there on this space as well. I'll catch you guys this evening. Thank you, Jamila. Good to see you. Much appreciated. Hope you're well, Yakov. Sorry that you're dealing with all this, dude. Said I got my medicine all sorted out, and now I got an MRI scheduled for Thursday. See if I slipped a disc. So, all the best, man. Whatever the best outcome is for that, I hope that's what happens. So let us know if you need any help. Let me know if you need any help. How crazy was that? We'll play that clip later tonight. Don't you worry. We're definitely going to react to that a little more. The Islamic Republic of Japan might be up there as one of the better ones. I'm going to have to get these drops ready to go for tonight. The Islamic Republic of Japan is fucking fantastic. Happy birthday again, Alyosha. Hope you had a good day, my friend. Thank you for everything that you do for this channel. Very much appreciated. Definitely doesn't go unnoticed.
Вітаю, Бостон Брайан. Мій позивний танцор. Я представник 72-ї бригади. Дякую тобі і твоїм підписникам за цей донат, за цю чудову машину. яка буде нас возити усіх на позиції, захищати Україну і наближати перемогу. Разом усі до перемоги. Дякую.
You'll have a group of Venezuelan killers, street gangs, occupying the town with MK-47s. I know that gun very well. I got to know it very well. I've become an expert on guns. Wrong. Army manned the air. It ran the ramparts. It took over the airports. It did everything.
Oh, go fuck yourself.
This week it was reported that an illegal athlete, and you just look at this, what's happening. Yesterday's a hard word for me. We are a nation that just recently heard that Saudi Arabia and
Вітаю,
Russia
Бостон Брайан.
will
Мій позивний
repeat.
танцор. Я представник 72-ї бригади. Дякую тобі і твоїм підписникам за цей донат, за цю чудову машину, яка буде нас возити усіх на позиції, захищати Україну і наближати перемогу. Разом усі до перемоги. Дякую.
We're inviting Americans from all across the country to come out to officially name the undisputed. When did this come out?
Here's a thought. Grow a sack, fill it with some balls.
The kidney has a very special place in the heart. It's an incredible thing. Nothing bad can happen. It can only good happen. Never fight uphill, me boys. Never fight uphill. They were fighting uphill. He said, wow, that was a big mistake. He lost his great general. And they were fighting. Never fight uphill, me boys. But it was too late. Gettysburg, what an unbelievable battle that was. The Battle of Gettysburg, what an unbelievable. I mean, it was so much and so interesting and so vicious and horrible and so beautiful in so many different ways. It represented such a big portion of the success of this country. Gettysburg, wow. I go to Gettysburg, Pennsylvania to look and to watch. Referred to my hands. If they're small, something else must be small.
Always calling me Little Marco. And I'll admit, the guy, he's taller than me, he's like 6'2", which is why I don't
Вітаю, Бостон
understand why
Брайан.
his hands.
Мій позивний танцор. Я представник 72-ї бригади. Дякую тобі і твоїм підписникам за цей донат, за цю чудову машину, яка буде нас возити усіх на позиції, захищати Україну і наближати перемогу. Разом усі до перемоги. Дякую.
When you ran out the healthy arms, you ran out of really healthy. They had great arms, but they ran out. It's called sports. It's called baseball in particular, and pitcher. I am the chosen one.
He builds the wall the way he built Trump Towers. He'll be using illegal immigrant labor to do it.
The big, fat, sloppy United States.